Atlanta United 2021 MLS Season Preview. Oh, the Five Stripes. A season to forget last year for the Five Stripes. Man, 12th place in the East, 22 points, a -7 goal differential. However, they still were in contention to make the playoffs towards the end of the season, but definitely a season to forget for Atlanta, which has proven to be one of the best franchises in MLS since coming into the league just a few years ago, already with an MLS Cup star over their badge. Much better expected out of Atlanta again this season, and I think they will get there as well. Now, make sure you stay tuned all the way to the end of the show for this one. I'm going to give you my predictions for Atlanta at the end of the show, a ceiling and a floor on how I think they will finish out this year. Now, with that being said, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the notification bell as well so you don't miss any of our awesome American soccer content. Thanks for joining me here. My name is Mike, Sons of a Pitch soccer podcast host. And let's get right into it, shall we? Off seasons, ins and outs. Lots of players in, lots of players out for Atlanta United. Players in. Defender Efrain Morales. Forward Jackson Conway. Mikey Ambrose as a free agent. Matchup Chop, a homegrown player. Lisandro Lopez, free transfer from Racing Club. Midfielder Santiago Sosa from River Plate. Ronald Hernandez, a loan from Aberdeen over in Scotland. Franco Ibarra, a transfer from Argentinos Juniors. And goalie Ben Lundgaard from ATLUTD 2 down in the USL. Now, some of the players out. John Gallagher, drafted by Austin FC. Jeff Lorenovich, out of contract. Andrew Carlton, option declined. Edgar Castillo, Manuel Castro, Lagos Kunga, Brendan Moore, J.J. Williams, Lawrence Wyke, all had their options declined. Adam John was waived. Franco Escobar loaned to Newell's Old Boys down in Argentina. Eric Remedy traded to the San Jose Earthquakes, and Fernando Meza loaned to Defensa y Justicia. All right, so lots of movement for Atlanta United in this season so far. Lot of big signings in. Lisandro Lopez expected to do big things for Atlanta. Santiago Sosa from River Plate, one of the best clubs in Argentina. Franco Ibarra, youngster, possibly a breakout youngster. We'll talk about breakout youngsters later in this preview as well. Lots of big name moves here. And again, we kind of have some from last season as well, like their designated player, Moreno. He came over towards the end of last season, kind of like a new signing this year, because last season just kind of gets thrown out of the window with the injuries. And another player in that I would like to note is technically like a player in. Joseph Martinez is back. The king himself is back for Atlanta United, supposedly in perfect shape, ready to go once the season starts. And that to me is probably the best signing, the best player in for Atlanta United. Now let's talk a little bit about those designated players. I'm a little bit confused because there's only one designated player listed on the roster on the Atlanta United official site. Now when you go and look at MLS's site, it shows 2 designated players. Then when you look at the designated player lineup from Wikipedia, it's showing 3. So I don't know what to believe if they've bought Ezequiel Barco down, if they've bought Joseph Martinez down, or if maybe they just didn't have him listed as a designated player on the website because he was out last season hurt. I don't know. But either way, I'm going with them having 3 designated players. Marcelino Moreno, the new signing from Lanús down in Argentina, 25 years old, 6 goals and 13 assists over 106 appearances for Lanús. Played in a few games last season, but the real test is this season. Like I just mentioned, Marcelino Moreno has the chance to be a real breakout star for Atlanta United and in MLS. He definitely has that much talent. Now, for Joseph Martinez, same deal. We know what Joseph Martinez can do in MLS. Leading goal scorer just a couple years ago with the Golden Boot. The guy is amazing. He scores goals left and right, and probably, I would say, a top 5 player in MLS every single season that he's healthy. So nothing else needs to be said about Joseph Martinez. Now, for Ezequiel Barco, Is this his last chance? A lot of talk saying that this is his year to put up or shut up. If he doesn't get it done this season, he's out. He came over as this highly touted young South American kid coming over who played in the Copa Sudamericana and won the tournament, was the star for his team there at 17, 18 years old. And now he comes over, 16, 17 years old, excuse me. So now he comes over to Atlanta, and we haven't seen a full season of successes from Ezequiel Barco in a 5-stripe shirt. We've had glimpses and chances of, you see it for a few games. Had good form, then he got hurt. Had good form, then all of a sudden dropped off. We've seen it's possible for him. Now, this is the chance to put it all together and have a caliber, like an MVP type season. If he's just mediocre, I don't expect to see Atlanta hang on much longer, even though he is still so young. I mean, the guy, it's amazing that we're like, okay, well, it's time to figure it out now, but he's still, only 19 years old? But it's his chance. He's a designated player. When you're a DP on a top team in MLS, like Atlanta United, you need to prove yourself, and you need to be producing at a very, very high level, or they'll move on, right? So now that's enough of the DPs. Let's talk a little bit about the MLS Cup odds for this season. The odds makers in Vegas think last year was a complete blip on the radar, and it's not going to happen again. Plus 1,400 odds for MLS Cup for Atlanta United this year in 2021. I think that's a good place. I think they actually could go a little bit higher. I have a lot of faith in this Atlanta side coming up in this 2021 season. So 1,400 good odds to put a bet on now. And again, these odds can change before the end of the season, depending on when you're watching this. I am recording on March 9th. So the release date, I think, is the 11th or 12th. So if, you're watching this a week before the season starts, in the beginning of April, things may have changed by then. Now, Breakout Youngsters, for me, the Breakout Youngsters section is hard. You've got to go for a national podcast like Sons of a Pitch. We follow all these teams. We watch all these games. We know the starters. We know some of the bench players. But trying to understand the academies and who's coming up and who's supposed to be these bench players that nobody's ever heard of, going to have big seasons, we need a little bit of help with that. So I head over to Reddit, jump on the subreddit, got a great conversation started over there. So thank you to everybody on Reddit who replied to my questions about the Breakout Youngsters. Came to a consensus on these two. First up, Franco Ibarra, two 19-year-olds actually. Franco Ibarra, 19 years old, already played in the Argentino Juniors first team, a member of the Argentina under-20 side. The guy's got international, he's an international with pedigree, and it's tough to see this as a breakout youngster because he hasn't really broken out in MLS yet, but the kid's got a lot of talent and should break out in MLS. So he is on the list. Franco Ibarra, 19 years old, from Argentina. And then second, Eric Lopez. The Paraguayan side, Olympia, is where he just came from. 19 years old as well. Had one start in the second leg win over Club America in the CONCACAF Champions League in the restart, but that was a game where Atlanta was already down 3-0 after the away leg, so was not really a great match, but put him in to get some experience, especially playing against a team like Club America, which was huge. Now, one thing that I really noted about the Breakout Youngsters for Atlanta and the conversations, so you have these conversations with other MLS fans and other MLS teams, and they're talking about these kids who, maybe are coming up through the academy that nobody's ever heard of before, and they have zero experience outside of the academies. Now, you look at Atlanta United, it's kind of what sets them apart. They've got these young South American kids that are 19 years old, like Franco Ibarra, like Eric Lopez, that are part of their Breakout Youngsters, not the academy kids, which, again, not to take anything away from Atlanta's academy, they still do have a very good academy and a lot of good talent coming up through the ranks. AKA look at Bello last season that broke out, and Miles Robinson and others. There's definitely kids that are coming up through Atlanta's system, But you look at the Breakout Youngsters and they're kids who already have experience in some of the best leagues in the world, like the Argentinian league, that have played in big tournaments, that are already well established. So that's kind of the difference, that I think Atlanta kind of leads the way for MLS to say, hey, we're not just going to settle for guys out of our academy. We're still going to go buy young players. And I think that will bode well for Atlanta this season and moving on through the future. All right, so before we head into the coach review, guys, we just launched our join and membership option here at Sons of a Pitch. If you like our content, you want to be part of our Sons of a Pitch soccer community, hit that join button today right next to the subscribe button and come join our community. We've got lots of different perks. Starter level at $1.99 a month, designated player level at $4.99 a month. The perks are there for you to read here on the screen, as well as when you go to sign up. Help us continue to grow the sport of soccer here in the United States of America and join the Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast membership group. Now, coach review, let's talk a little bit about the brand new head coach for Atlanta United, Gabriel Heinze. An amazing playing career. I mean, this guy, what a playing career he had. Played for the likes of Manchester United, PSG, Real Madrid. I mean, the biggest clubs in the world. A center back, which should help this team defensively. Again, I think that's important. Atlanta has never had any issues going forward. Well, last year, different story with no Joseph Martinez. But they need a little bit of help defensively. Brad Guzan is getting up there in age. The center backs, yeah, I mean, they're okay, but Miles Robinson's still young. This should help having a defensive-minded coach. Now, 73 caps for Argentina, playing in 2 World Cups and Copa Americas. The guy has tons and tons of experience and then really a good coaching career as well, working his way up in Argentina. So this is not a Thierry Henry type of head coach where he was just given a job in Monaco and then given a job in Montreal and, some of these other, type of coaches that just as soon as they retire, they get into these big clubs. Well, Gabriel Heinze, he came up through the Argentinian league, made his way up all the way up to Vélez Sarsfield, which had one of the youngest teams in the league and took them from bottom to like mid top of the table. So definitely has experience building his way up, and now moving up to a spot like Atlanta United could continue that career projection for Gabriel Heinze. So excited to see what he does. Hopefully, God, please knock on wood, it is not the type of signing that Frank de Boer was. Frank de Boer was a big name, had a lot of experience coaching at big clubs, but obviously could not fight himself out of a paper bag when it came to coaching a team. Not his strong suit at all. Gabriel Heinze, we'll see how time will tell how well he does, but I think he'll do just fine, especially with that young Argentinian base that he's going to be familiar with. I'm sure he already knows a lot of these guys. The language barrier isn't there. I think he's going to do a great job for Atlanta United. Now, looking at the projected starting 11, this one I kind of see a 4-3-3 that kind of shifts into a 4-2-3-1. Now, looking at the players in this one, what I do is I go back to the last game of the season for Atlanta and use that formation. Again, this is a new coach, could have a different formation, totally. But I've got Guzan in net. Then left to right, you've got Bello, Walks, Robinson, and Hernandez. The midfield, I think you've got Santiago Sosa, the new signing, Emerson Hinman, Moreno, and then up front with kind of where I think you could see the shift, you've got the wingers of Dam and Barco with Joseph Martinez up top. It can be played as a 4-3-3. It can also be played as a 4-2-3-1. Have Sosa and Hinman bring themselves back into that kind of defensive midfield shape, and then have Moreno as the 10, and then have Barco and Dam on the wings with Martinez up front as a lone striker. So I think it's a really fluid formation for Atlanta, and that right there, my friends, is one of the best starting 11s in MLS, period. That is an unbelievable starting 11, and I expect to see big things out of Atlanta United this season. Now, let's talk about the most important player. So the most important player for me, this one comes down to one and only Ezequiel Barco. He needs to break out. He needs to have a great MVP type season. If he does not, the ATL experiment is over for Barco, and I don't think it's going to amount to Atlanta being as great of a team as they could be. I expect if he doesn't have a good season, Atlanta's going to be a middle of the East type of team. Now, if he has a great season, Atlanta will be one of the best teams in the East, if not all of MLS. So to me, it rides on Barco. You know what you're getting from Joseph Martinez. Don't really know what you're getting from Moreno yet, but he's still too young into the system. Same thing with Sosa. Brad Guzan is also very important. He cannot have a regression, and of course, goalkeepers get better with age, but at some point they do start to regress a little bit. You saw it with Tim Howard. We will see it with Brad Guzan here, probably within the next couple of years. He can't regress, but I think the most important player is Ezequiel Barco. Now, for the first game of the season, that's going to come through the Champions League, hence why I'm doing Atlanta as one of the first team previews this season of the team previews. I think you're number 5 on the list or number 4, 6. I can't remember, but right in there. The first game, Alajuelense from Costa Rica on April 6th in the CONCACAF Champions League. Alajuelense is a very good team, won the CONCACAF League last season. Could definitely throw a surprise in the way of Atlanta, especially being a brand new team. So this team cannot be taken lightly. I do expect Atlanta to get through. I don't see Alajuelense beating a team like Atlanta United with Heinze as coach and some of the talent that they have in that starting 11. However, if they do come into this game taking Alajuelense lightly, it could spell doom for them. And again, MLS season starts on April 17th. That's opening kick. But we've got the Champions League before that. So now we've got the predictions. How do I think Atlanta is going to do this season? First things first, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on your notification bell as well so you don't miss any of our awesome American soccer content. And go check out our merch, sonsofapitch.redbubble.com. We've got everything. Shirts, water bottles, stickers, notebooks, shower curtains, you name it, we've got it on Redbubble. Go check it out and help grow the sport of soccer here in the United States. So, prediction time. Ceiling and floor. Ceiling, all goes well. Everybody has a great season. Well, damn near everybody has a great season. Floor is things just fall apart, a.k.a. similar to Frank de Boer's season last season. Joseph Martinez goes out. Barco's a flop, whatever. So ceiling, I think the ceiling is MLS Cup champions, first in the East for Atlanta United. Yes, I'm that high on them. I think they could win it all easily this year, if all goes well. Now, for a floor, this team is a playoff team. If all goes wrong, I don't see them missing the playoffs again this season. I see them getting in just at that bottom spot, the number 7 spot in the East as a floor. So for me, ceiling is MLS Cup champions, first in the Eastern Conference. Floor, 7th in the East, barely squeaking into the playoffs, and then probably some type of exit, either whether it's the first round or the second round. But I expect big things out of Atlanta. You should too. And thanks for joining me here on this Sons of a Pitch, an American Soccer Podcast 2021 Atlanta United MLS Season Preview. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments below if you think my predictions are spot on. Let me know what your thoughts are on Atlanta United, and we will talk to you guys real soon.